Bring in the magic. Just like that. Okay. Much love, many blessings. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. I was actually I wanted to do this, the 2/22/22 portal readings yesterday, but a lot of times when I actually plan to do messages, when the moment comes, I do allow for Spirit to kind of guide me, to let me know if I'm supposed to be kind of providing or teaching or just providing insight for the collective. Or just sometimes just needing to do things for my own upliftment and empowerment. And I will say that there were a lot of activations and just shifts, really is the best way I can put it, that were transpiring. I will say that this week for the collective has been a little weighted. I kind of want to say that it feels like when the Pisces seasons kind of started, it feels like the universe kind of came to you with like, okay, I got good news and bad news. And it was like, all right, well, I'm going to present you with the bad news first. And that's like a lot of what this week has kind of been feeling like, just like letting us know things about the shifts that are transpiring. So I do know that some of you may be dealing with things that you're coming to terms with, or just hard news about the realities around you. So it's kind of like the universe is kind of presenting the bad news first, and you're kind of like, well, I don't know if I necessarily wanted to be presented with the bad news first, but there really are good things in store. But right now, we may be feeling like the collective is really kind of just dealing with, okay, I wasn't really planning on this, I wasn't expecting to hear this, or I wasn't planning to deal with this. I think that a lot of times that can have a lot to do with just the flow of, like, when we're dealing with like a Pisces sign energy, like we're dealing with mutable water. Pisces is that sign that does love to integrate and be a part of things with no particular grounding or solidarity within themselves. A lot of their energy kind of is predicated off of the structures and containers that they find solidarity in. So it can be really important for Pisces to fix or align things with where they're at. They kind of keep a flow going. If they find stagnation, then they're trying to figure out, hey, how do we get this going? Sometimes without even asking. So that can actually be why sometimes Pisces and Aries can be very similar, because Aries also likes to fix things too, sometimes without even asking. So then when you start to deal with those Pisces Aries cusps, you're like, what the fuck? But there is a similarity because Pisces is the first and last sign, so it's at the end and Aries is at the beginning. So sometimes we find some of that one commonality that you will find is that exaggeration of enthusiasm in life, and a lot of that can come from those 12th house vibes, dealing with the the spiritual nature of things, dealing with that unconditional love, dealing with imagination. Pisces does deal with the Neptune, or deals with being ruled by Neptune. So we're dealing with all those things that covered how we bring things from the higher realm into this physical reality. We do need Pisces energy because Pisces is how we create movement. Reality is fixed and concrete. It's consistent. So it doesn't budge very easily because it's very dense. So sometimes when we have a reality like this is this, it is that until something comes along and shifts the energy. So Pisces energy, or spiritual energy, when we think on the higher realm energy, is the shifts that are taking place on the metaphysical end that have the mirror influence on our reality, kind of that yin and yang effect, or reality versus spirituality. Pisces energy is important because it allows us to, one, get out of our head, or get out of the conscious mind is what I really want to say, but to get into the imaginative mind, where our connection with our subconscious and unconscious thoughts and our imagination is fueled by sexual energy and sensual energy, where our sacral energy and our ability to put our solar plexus, or how we actually put the goal-oriented energy of those new ideas into perspective. So with Pisces coming around, we're really coming off of the season of the Aquarius energy, where we were being presented with these tools, a lot of things which we really needed to kind of change our outdated situations. And now Pisces season is here. We're kind of like, okay, well, I got all this new shit. I'm starting at the beginning, but I'm like, kind of like if you ever play Call of Duty, like in this prestige mode, where it's like, okay, yes, I'm starting over, but I still have the wisdom and knowledge of a person that is already a veteran, and I might even have tools and things available that actually allow me to kind of blow through this quicker. So I kind of feel like, in a sense, that's what we're dealing with. And the only thing that's really kind of getting us down at this point is just distractions that have kind of come up since this season has started, but we're really ready to kind of like apply these new things, whether it's our perspective, our new emotional understanding, and the wisdoms that we have in place. One of the things I do think that just as we're moving through this Pisces season, before I even really get started, some of the things that I was noticing, like just in the planetary chart, one of the things we're still dealing with is Venus and Mars is still in Cap. So with Capricorn still having those influences within Venus, where our values are, and Mars, which is like our execution, there's still a little bit of, for lack of a better word, friction. But it's not friction, it's just the lack of consideration of others around you, if it means that you may not be able to get what you want or accomplish what it is that you want. So there may be a little bit of aggressive nature as far as not necessarily considering other people's rewards or needs on the end of the deal. One of the other important things is Pluto, I forget exactly when, but I think Pluto went direct, and it was in Capricorn. So because Pluto is dealing with a lot of our long-term effects as far as how we do like our traditions and how we've been kind of going about things, you may be noticing like during this time and really in this season that like with family and just like serious structures, like it could be government structures, or it could just be on an individual level, the structures that hold great importance and really dictate how you hold your ideologies and operate within your space. So a lot of times that can be government, but that can also be a lot to do with family, because they're really our structure in our government system, or just the authoritative figures to kind of help to guide us, and where we check in for our lifestyles, as far as are we moving along our lifestyle with the wisdom that is honorable for our walk and the people that are around us. So with Pluto being in Capricorn and going direct, we may be realizing like, oh shit, this shit is, I actually realized what I've been doing. I don't know if I've necessarily been liking the things that have been going on. And some of this, and I'm going to talk about Neptune and Pisces for a moment, because Neptune is in its ruling planet with, Pisces is in its ruling planet with Neptune. So with that energy of that imagination, that faith and that belief, and just knowing without knowing that whatever it is that I'm trying to get or aspire for, just generally feeling, is just, I'm just believing that that's going to happen, even though I don't necessarily see anything that's necessarily connected in the physical or within the facts of the situation, that this can actually happen. So Pisces on one end creates a lot of the ability to create comfort and to add empathy and sympathy to a situation when none is actually being offered. That is a very positive thing about Pisces energy and that flow of that spiritual energy. On a negative end, because Pisces rules illusions and deceptions, sometimes that Neptune energy can wash over matters, and we can get confused. Both the person creating the perception as well as the people that they're trying to project that energy at can get washed over and caught up in the emotional matters rather than actually focusing on the reality of the situation, such as needing to do something about it or realizing that your feelings don't actually weigh into the judgments of the situation. Because Neptune and Pisces is in this point, there can be a very strong trigger with the Capricorn placements. Particularly, the trigger comes up in the collective in areas where you are noticing that you don't have the most grounding, whether it's with our finances or if it's with our relationships or if it's with going along a path and feeling obligated to do something where you don't feel that you have a solid ground on. So those areas where things are kind of moving and flowing, those are the areas that are being triggered with the Neptune and Pisces. And in particular, when Pisces or Neptune energy is triggered, it triggers a particular response, which is to usually to either run away, but not like how Sagittarius may run from something, but to like get lost in the illusion or another reality, whether it's getting lost in the emotions of how you feel or getting lost in the metaverse, getting lost in video games or vices, or just getting lost in some other thing that takes you away from the current reality, allows you to get lost in your thoughts or imagination, whether it's your work that's doing it or creating some new idea when you should actually be prioritizing other things. So a lot of times if we during this, I will say that the collective may notice during this season that particularly with Pisces, you may be noticing that you might find yourself daydreaming more, particularly in areas where you're not finding your power, not finding a way to change the circumstances or finding a grounding. So I do believe that Neptune and really Venus, Pluto, and Mars placements within our charts will be experiencing some triggers if those areas aren't necessarily in alignment. I do want to kind of touch on this because right now I'm not necessarily going over by the signs. But I did want to kind of delve into the Pisces season, since I have an early start. Sometimes it's letting the day or just events get away between other working errands. Sometimes these channel messages from spirit end up not coming until later in the week or along the astrological seasons flow. So right now I actually just definitely want to put out this message, and then most likely throughout the week, since we're dealing with hump day, it obviously is a good day, the mercurial day where Mercury is active, and we can receive a clear message where it's really just the facts, not regardless of how you fucking feel about it. It just kind of is what it is. So one of the things I was talking about on my previous post for the live that I was going to do yesterday, which is now, I will be actually giving away some things that I just want to gift away and just kind of consolidate some decks that I have a fuck ton of decks, and I realizing that I can really just gift things away because some things were gifted to me along my journey, and it's really just time to kind of pass the energy along for other people who want to grow and expand their insight along their callings and path. One of the decks I do have is True Heart Intuitive Tarot. You may or may not have heard of it if you're a fan of the craft. It has really insightful cards, and the images are really big and vivid is what I want to say. So it can really allow you the opportunity to attune to a deck, especially if you don't have like any personal decks, or maybe even have a deck. But if you don't have any decks, it's definitely not a bad starting point. The messages are really clear, very concise, and sometimes you can need that when you're starting out so that you can allow your intuitive body to attune to a deck and really become familiar with what your body's trying to communicate with you. So yeah, definitely not a bad starter deck to work with, or just if it's attuned to you, it's definitely worth working with it more and just starting that journey, finding ways to find things and situations, whether you're watching TV or people to sync up with, to kind of read to see if what you're feeling is matching up with what is actually coming up when you do channel messages. Another deck I actually have two decks that I'm actually going to give away. I'm a big fan of kind of just like the eclectic, multicultural things, just brought in across cultures. I definitely love themes where there's kind of like this melange of themes, and with this one in particular, it's called the Tarot of the Divine. So there's a very strong feminine, divine feminine aspect in it, and particularly not just centered in like Western culture, but across East and Western cultures. So you might find Sukiyomi, why did her name slip my mind? The snow goddess. But anyway, yeah, I just slipped in my mind at the moment. But just a lot of different goddesses in here across, pagan, Zeus, Greek, Norse mythology, all types of things. So it's a really colorful and vivid deck. I kind of just wanted to go through here. A lot of different cultures. As you can see, very vivid artwork. So I'll definitely be giving this one away as well. All the major arcanas are very vibrant across Indian cultures and things of that nature. So I'll definitely be showing the details on how you can have an opportunity to receive that or participate for that one. And I think it would be very good to start somebody off on their 2022 path if they've been either considering expanding decks or just even just getting started for the first time. So I'll be releasing the details for that along with doing this welcome Pisces message, and anybody that I do have my Cashapp listed on here as well. So while I am channeling the life path messages for the Pisces season, if you feel compelled, definitely drop a donation. I will deliver a personal carpool message that resonates with your heart, especially as it relates to the recent 222 or on the 22222 portal. And one of the more important things I do want to say before I actually kind of get going with that is there is a really big activation that's taking place. So a lot of you, especially since it was on a Scorpio moon, I do find that when the Scorpio moons come around, those moons are particularly hard for the collective if you've been hiding or holding back anything. And what you'll notice sometimes is that even if you didn't slip up and divulge something, truths about situations as it relates to you and other people will just come out. So if you've been holding secrets or just not being the most authentic, because it's not about lying. Sometimes it's just about being authentic in your energy. If you haven't been being authentic in your energy, or you've been lying or cheating, or just being having an infidelitous nature about your movement as it relates to your connections, then those things come up when the Scorpio moon comes out, and it's harder to be fake. So you run into irritations, and you might notice driving irritations. You might notice that people have a hard time communicating, or it's just a lot of passive aggressive things. But when people are more in their authenticity, they flow and they communicate better. So it was a very divine irony that the Scorpio moon was the 22222 portal, because we needed the truth, or just the underlying source of essence on how to transmute the things that we want into what it is that we really want. So this is really a big opportunity too, for you to realize, that the recent transpiring energy was here to create a major shift. It probably won't be seen for hundreds of years, this particular type of portal, and it won't happen in this way. So it is a once in a lifetime thing. So even still, you can write those petitions, or just ask spirit, or even ask for a message to help to know what the feelings and sensations that activated for you during that time are trying to communicate for you, and what they've actually been saying is confirmation for your walk. So I definitely want to get into this. And with this being hump day, I want to pull some sacred care messages, because overall for the collective, I've been feeling a heavy weight. It's been a little hard to deal with things, and bad news that's been coming has been kind of like just adding to the already bad news pot. Ultimately, a lot of people in the collective do know that the bad news is just part of kind of the weeds growing. And there have been good things and blessings transpiring, but the blessings have been coming along with everything else. It's kind of been like, okay, can I just get the blessings without getting the onions on the side, or just getting those jalapenos or anchovies, or like, you're just not. Can I just get the pizza? Can I just get the thing that I want without those extra additives? You don't even have to put them in the bag just to say you did it. And that's kind of what it really feels like during this time. So we're really trying to figure out a way to deal with those things that we don't want, while we're still actually being blessed during this time, because there has been a lot of blessings that have been coming. We may have not necessarily been the most attuned to them, because every time that these things come, we haven't had the biggest opportunity to enjoy them, just due with the constant need to fix things. And when Pisces is being oversaturated in its energy field, that is also a call to kind of, all signs need to technically isolate when they're being oversaturated. But for you, this is kind of like saying that it feels as if your waters, your psyche, your personal waters are oversaturated. There's like a lot of sludge and algae, and you need to put almost like chlorine in your water, because there's been too many people and things kind of floating in your current. And the water is moving, but it's just not as pristine as it could be. You need a flush. There's a flush that needs to take place. You've been utilizing the water, but you haven't taken the time to clean your tools. You haven't taken the time to clean the waters, or the space that handles your transition and your ease of flow. Okay, I'm feeling the number of threes here. I want to keep this simple. I'm going to pull 3 from each feeling threes in spirit from each message. So I'm definitely feeling some type of initiation or activation, the power of 3. Okay. Flow like water. Yep, we're going to touch on that more. Very self-explanatory. Feels like it's really speaking to the Pisces season, connected with crystals. So there's some type of need to connect with earth or higher earth. This is a call when we see connect with crystals to bring into awareness the type of earth or the physical reality that we're working with. There's a divinity or there's an energy. Are you aware of the energy that's transpiring from the things that you have around you? It's time to supercharge or put energy into the earth and the rocks and the crystals that you have around you. Also to bring awareness to the thinking on crystals, but bring awareness to the frequencies that are coming from the things that you have around in your environment. Everything holds a vibration or energy or radiation. So if you've been kind of like stooping and depressed and kind of down, then you might be sitting on your couch and all that depression and that sadness is going into the couch and your pillows that you're crying in, and all of that residual energy is going into the carpet and into the walls. And now it's like, okay, you might take a break and come back and you're feeling a little bit better, but then you're still sitting in that same energy that you've been holding all that depression and those thoughts in. So that's radiation. You know, that's not nuclear radiation, but it's the radiation that's making you sick. It's the radiation that keeps giving you back the same energy that you're trying to get away from. So every time you try to get away from it, you're sitting in this energy. So this is a call for you to be mindful of the types of crystal or the types of energy that's radiating within your space. You might need to do a saging or a cleansing. There might be too many disruptive types of energy or crystals around. You might have things that make you sad or that make you feel a myriad of feelings, and because you're being hit with your TV, which is giving you all that paranoia, you're being hit with the couch that's housing all of your depression because you're trying to figure out how to please people and why your job's not paying you enough money. You know, you're wearing clothes that you were crying in and that you were running away from, or you were going out to the club in. So you're wearing all these things, you have all this energy on you that's emitting these frequencies of different frequencies, and there's no constants in your space. And the only constant that you really want is the peace. But the clothes you're wearing, the couch you're sitting on, the TV, the food, the low frequency food that you're taking in, nothing is actually creating the constant frequency other than the desire to actually want peace. But do you have peace within your physical reality? Are the things and the items that you have around creating or emitting a frequency of peace? Intuition. 3 messages here. So we have flow like water, intuition, and connect with crystals. Connect with crystals and intuition. So this is also a call that there's too many outside influences, whether it's coming from other people or just the environment that you have around you. So because intuition is by definition, as a spirit call, is saying self has answers. External is not going to be able to provide you with what it is that you're looking for. Even the people close to you aren't going to know because they don't know, they're not you. So this is a call to trust self. You've been prioritizing other people as the final check too much, and that for that reason you don't trust your own decisions. And then when you're trying to make your life path choices, you feel stuck. You feel as if, well, I don't trust my own choices. So if I make anything or make a move or shifts or changes that in any way within my heart knows that it's moving towards a successful path, I shut down. And then I literally cannot actively make any decisions that are for my own benefit without deferring my priority or my main discernment off to somebody else's judgment, whether it's family, government, teachers, doctors, all that stuff. Everything in my indoctrination is telling me that don't check with self first, check with others first, and then compare if what I'm feeling within is actually okay. Like, what? Why are you thinking that? That sounds crazy. Doctor's like, no, that's not good. Mom's like, why would you do that? You know, brother's like, why would you do that? Stranger's like, what? Your closest friend's like, what? Why would you do that? So you always feel fine with what you're doing, but then when somebody else is not giving you that, oh, you know, that's a good idea. You like, oh, you shouldn't do that. But this is backwards because self knows first. This is why you're feeling so lost. And in this Pisces season, it really makes me focus on that Pisces and Neptune. Because of the hypersensitivity of Pisces and Neptune during this time, there's a strong belief in faith and spirituality, but these things are fueled off of a connection, because spirituality is about being connected with the collective. And when you're not connected to the collective, or you're not connected to your ancestry, then you don't have an anchor. And during this time when we're looking for answers, especially when we're talking about this Mars and Venus that are in Capricorn, the signs of actively trying to do, particularly in the physical, and make physical shifts and their physical reality change, when you're not being met with those things, then you feel that lost at sea feeling. You feel that inability to, why do my actions feel like they don't matter? Why do I feel like I have no purpose or no calling? It's because you're not listening. You're not listening to yourself. But during this time with Neptune and spirituality, there's a strong awareness that comes that says, am I feeling connected or am I feeling disconnected from source? Source is all those things that remind you back to who and what you come back to and source back to. And you may have been doing a lot of things in the physical, especially if you haven't been receiving the things that you want, that have been making you feel kind of lost at sea. You don't know who your family is. You don't feel like you can relate to your family. You don't know your divine language. You don't know your source language. You're in a calling and craft that is not actually giving you life and purpose. You're just doing it because you have to. These are indicators. These are indicators that you feel lost. These are indicators that you're not trusting your intuition. Because even when everything is not right in your physical, you should still feel secure within your heart. There's a call that you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you need to ask. You need to go to your altars. If you don't have an altar, you need to fucking pray. You need to ask God. You need to ask your family, your living, and the ones that are beyond who you are, what you should do so that you can connect and have clarity. It is not until you connect with yourself that you will have clarity. So it's a very important call to do some shifting, do some sifting through things to see what is blocking up your flow. It's time to flow like water and to recognize the state that you are in during this time. Pisces season is going to have you constantly moving. You're going to have to take those pauses during that flow to make sure that you're not creating hiccups. You can move slowly or fast and still move in a rhythm. Moving slow does not mean that you are not out of rhythm. Skipping and stumbling show that you are not moving at your rhythm. It's always important to move to your beat. Even silence has a beat. So you have to know when you are out of beat and when things call for one thing versus another. Sometimes when we're in currents that we haven't questioned if we can handle them, we just kind of flow with them and then make the most of them, and it disrupts our energy. Why are you where you are? Who told you to get into this pot? Because now that we're back here, this is a whole new state entirely, but there's something within you that hasn't left or hasn't been released, is what I want to say. Be patient. You cannot rush this. Be patient. That rush feeling that you feel within your heart a lot of times comes from the sacral chakra, or it can come from the throat, an imbalanced throat or heart chakra, feeling like it doesn't have a space to express itself. So you need to speak up. Be patient, but speak up. Speak up for yourself, but be patient that the results will happen. You may decide that it's not worth the fight, or that the moment that you decide to stand on your own ground and you're seeing the disruption, you're like, oh, nope, it's not good enough. Let me just pull back. I knew I shouldn't have did this. You have to give opportunity for things to actually flow. You have to give opportunity for a new change to happen. New things take longer than something that's already been established, because the path has already been trampled in. It's already been beat in. When you're going down a new path, you got to have your fucking machete cutting down the long grass. You're not traveling through new territory as quickly as you travel through something that's already been done by somebody else. Even if it's been done by you, you know what to expect. So stop using the excuses of the slowness to justify that you're not actually succeeding just because you can't see through the hedges. That's why you got the fucking machete. You can't see where you're going, but you can see where you're going. You just can't see the full destination. You just know that it goes in this direction. So you got to know that shit. As you keep cutting and keep moving on the path, it's because it's not smooth. You got to know that, why am I running into resistance? Am I running into resistance because it's a new path, or is this a sign that it's not right? But don't be hypersensitive. You got to show some backbone, and a lot of confirmations about using your imagination. Imagine solutions. You have to imagine solutions because you can't see the situation yet. It's out of focus. It's out of your field of vision because of the tall grass is operating along this metaphysical path to your success. It's a new path to your success, so you have to allow the opportunity for the path to open up to you. That means there's still work for you to do. And even though Spirit is blessing you with the path, it may have revealed and showed you the path, you still have to physically use your hands, cut down the things that are in the way, clean up the walkway so that others that are coming along and trying to support you have room to get through as well. It's whatever you need for your lifestyle. But this path is unique to you, and you have to know what you're doing. But ultimately, you have to see the bigger picture and stop focusing on the trees for the forest. You got to see the bigger details that are going on and know that there's a bigger purpose that is transpiring. And a lot of what happens with the Pisces season or Pisces energy is about taking in the vastness. So yeah, the priest is jumping out here. Are you committing to routines? Are you allowing yourself, allowing your energy to bring you to the keys of success? This is also a confirmation of talking and speaking to devotion and consistency. You may also need to know that this is not something that it's okay to defer to help and higher wisdom during times. It's also important for you to develop a pattern and something that is consistent for you. Stop jumping ship. Be patient. You might have to go every Sunday. You might have to put in the work every day. You might have to check in and put this shit in twice, 2-3 times a week, putting in 20, 30, even an hour every time. So this is requiring you to keep going. You may not be seeing the results the first 2-3 weeks, so you got to keep going. The results may not be showing themselves, but that doesn't mean that it's not building. You got to keep actually applying the effort, which is why we see the Taurus energy. So there's also a confirmation for you to decide what areas of your life are you devoting to that have value. Better way to say this is, in what areas do you find the values that are important to you? How are you devoting to create that lifestyle that allows it to be consistent and not something that happens every now and then? What are you doing to actually build on that foundation so that it actually creates something that you can be proud of? A lot of which requires patience. If you've been taking shortcuts during this time, you will be noticing that your kind of houses will kind of be built, but then they'll kind of have that Jenga effect where it kind of comes tumbling back down. And then you realize that you should have just started and did it the right way the first time. So let's channel this message for the Pisces season. Really get this last tidbit out from Spirit. Okay, Eight of Pentacles. Doing the work. You know if you're doing the work, but I feel a sense that there is a laziness to doing the work. You're very close to getting what you want, which is why to be patient is the wanting to jump ship. You cannot cut corners during this time, and cutting corners would actually be a little detrimental for you, especially with Pluto going direct. It's easy to kind of get back into old habits, and things are kind of speeding up. So it's kind of like, where the fuck have I been? Is now I'm ready to kind of do things, and this Neptune and Pisces energy is kind of like, okay, I got all these great ideas. Let's actually apply this shit. So it's important for you to really realize where you've been putting the work. Some of you have been thinking that you've been doing the work, which is why we see the Eight of Pentacles in its inversion. You may have only been thinking on the things that need to be done and actually not actually applying yourself. But a lot of the work has already been done, whether by your own hands or just simply by people who've been holding things in place, and those opportunities haven't actually left yet. But you need to actually step up and put that energy into motion and stop feeling as if sometimes when we have to work on ourselves, we can feel like we're missing out on opportunities. But when we're working on opportunities, all right, sometimes when we need to work on ourselves, we can feel like we're missing opportunities that are being presented to us, and it can deter us from putting in that work because we feel like we're behind as we're working on those things with the opportunities that are being presented for that thing, or just for other things that are related to the thing that we should already have where we feel that it should be. But when you are working on something and you're getting yourself right, you're not missing shit and you're not losing out on shit, because those things that you have to get right are not available to you. You wouldn't be able to take advantage of them anyway. Even if you had your money right and you're not mentally right, you're going to fuck it up or dunk it off or blow the shit once it starts to get going. So Spirit's trying to let you know that there's more work that needs to be done, and you have to be patient. You have to be patient and allow that flow and that process to build and cultivate into seed. A lot of good work has been done, so that means that there's also not a lot of burden in this. It may feel like work, but it's work that you know how to do. It's comfortable work. It's not work that other people can do, but it's work that you can bring into fruition with success, which is why it's the inversion, because it's no weight to you. It's stuff that you know how to do and it's unique to you. So let's actually take that as a silver lining and actually a positive call, that you have all the tools and means that if you simply stop being lazy or simply get out of your head or simply apply these creative ideas and realize that you're thinking these ideas instead of actually executing them, that you actually see a lot from it, which is why it's saying speak up. Speak up. This overlaying speak up. The Fool overlaying speak up is a big major arcana, and it is letting you know that some new awakening has taken place within you that has you looking at your life and the situations with a completely whole new lens. And you know this better than I can even explain it. I'm not doing this justice to describe this new shift that you've been feeling. It's almost like an epiphany, and you want to recreate what it is that you've been doing with the energy during the season. And honestly, if you are patient with yourself and you allow those opportunities and you feel like you're not being small, you may be feeling small during this time because you're being presented with so much energy that you may not know where to start or how to actually utilize the energy. This is also called to flush out and to decide to concentrate on the energies that you want to get more of, because there is a saturation. I'm not gonna lie, there is a saturation in your energy field. A lot of this has to do with the things that you asked for, and all of this shit kind of got dropped on you. It's almost like you got this care package of just a whole bunch of cool things, and you don't know if you want to eat the chocolate, smell the fucking flowers, put on the body lotions, try to bath salts and all that shit. And it's like, okay, well, it's time to speak up. Or in this instance, it's time to be specific about where you want to start, what you want to utilize, and the types of energies that you want to have around you within your energy field. For Wands. So as we have this overlaying, imagine solutions. You have not been utilizing your power. You've been having a difficulty stepping into the role or the mantle that you want in your life. You've even been cheating on yourself, or haven't been giving yourself what you give others. You've been taking the energy that's been accumulating and using it for other things when it can actually benefit you. In a lot of ways, you don't believe in what it is that you're capable of, and now that it's actually reached this point, you're not spending the investment money on the things that were promised, that they were promised to be spent on, simply because you're not believing in your success. You might be having a sellout mentality, or just feeling as if you do this, that you're not being true to what it is that you wanted for yourself. So for Wands, in really a strong way, it's time to really have a proper union with yourself. Be honest with yourself, whether it's in relation to the people who are believing in you, or you simply believing in your own abilities and not sabotaging what it is you have going on. It's time for you to imagine solutions. So this has a lot to do with you. Imagine solutions instead of imagining the victim mindset, or just seeing the new things that come up in your space and figuring out all the possible ways that it's not going to work. Particularly talking to Virgos and Capricorns, that make me think on that overthinking and self-sabotaging your traits that are going on during this time. There's a strong awareness for you to tap into your sacred femininity and trust in your knowing. And if you are wondering how do you do that, or how do you know that you're having issues with trusting your own discernment, it is a call that you need to ask yourself when you're being faced with situations where you feel that rush. What do you do? Do you feel a situation that tells you or has told you, nah, I shouldn't do that? What did you decide to do? Did you listen to that, or did you ask your partner? Did you ask someone external to you? Did you dismiss it and not ask anybody? And then after the fact, when the thing that you were worried about happened, those are those tales that you were correct beforehand. Are you trusting your intuition? Are you imagining solutions? Or are you self-sabotaging? Are you actually being honest with the energy that's coming to you? For Wands, about honesty, there's a kind of a cheating in the energy, or just not believing the energy that's coming up. Why are you not believing the energy? Why do you not trust yourself? It's time for you to get over these traumas that you've indoctrinated into yourself, that checking with everybody else outside of you first is priority versus trusting self first and deferring to everyone else. This will always self-sabotage and create an internal conflict within you. And every time it comes time to trust in something, you will not trust yourself. And in not trusting yourself, you won't trust the world around you, and you will only do things predicated off of either not having to think or just going along with the situations at hand. Ultimately, I hope this Pisces season is really kind to you and is actually bringing you the things that can liberate your spirit. I hope this message is actually resonating with you in a way that allows you to feel empowered. If you've been feeling kind of the pains and just the woes that come with the shifts of change, because a lot of transpiring energy isn't just, we need transmuting energy. So sometimes when we're faced with hardships and just discomforts in our lives, or just uncomfortable truths, this energy is brought to us to help us to elevate, or to help us to transmute into something that we can actually make practical use of. So if you've been feeling these things, I do feel for you, and I do send you healing energy, because no one wants to go through suffering and hardships. But I also am rooting for you, and I hope that you're able to transmute your energy into something that is actually tangible and real for your success and in your empowerment walk. Anybody that needs to hear this message, definitely share this message and drop a comment if this resonates with you. I will definitely be doing the signs by the the Pisces season by the elements for the signs through the collective. So I'll be making that announcement very soon. And I'll also be letting you know how you can win these two awesome ass tarot decks. So again, I hope this Pisces season is kind to you and gives you the wisdom and blessings of your heart and gives you that unconditional love that you're really hoping and seeking for your divine walk. I hope that's all from Lotus. Much love, many blessings, and Ashe. I'll be hitting you guys with some good updates soon. Keep you posted. Have a wonderful day and happy hump day.